Coming to you live from the Show Me State, the birthplace of James Mercer Langston Hughes. It's the Colbert Connection. Your hosts, Melody and Donika, are connecting you to the world through Facebook Live with today's hot topics and creative conversations. I'm your announcer, D.R. Colbert, working hard for a free meal and a bottle of crushed grapes. And now, here's your host of the Colbert Connection, Melody Colbert King and Donika Colbert.
Boom, boom, boom. It's Tuesday.
Another one.
It's another Tuesday, y'all, and here we are back live in your phone, in your television.
On your tablet.
Your tablet. Well, some
Computer.
people can like beam it to their TV.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Colbert Connection. I'm Melody Colbert King.
I'm Donika Colbert.
And I'm Don Colbert.
And here we are. So what we got going?
A whole bunch of stuff.
Another Tuesday night.
Nope, that's what we got going.
We full of excitement tonight, y'all. I'm telling you. But no, we have. Okay, let me start it off.
Okay, go ahead.
It's just been uncovered, because nobody knew this in all of America or the world, that the wealthy, like that little 0.01%, the Bezos and Gates and those,
Waltons.
Zuckerbergs and, the Waltons, compared to Musk and Elon Musk and all them, they're like, they ain't in the ballpark.
All right.
But it's been discovered that they're not paying taxes.
Oh, my.
Oh my gosh, I know. Drop the mic.
Yeah, I had to call the people the other month. Look,
I know. We try to set up payment plans. Yeah.
I know I owe you $2, but I need my last $2. These last $2.
But y'all, is that a surprise to y'all? We need to know. Is that a surprise to you? They are not paying taxes.
That is no surprise to me.
I just need to know what I need to document and how I need to do it so I don't have to pay.
You need to make $1 billion.
I'm on the way.
And when you make $1 billion, you can get away without paying your taxes.
Or you can pay $750.
Or you can.
Ooh, y'all heard that.
I was just asking.
Public
'Cause
knowledge.
I would like to know how to do that.
Public knowledge. That's all.
Yeah.
We're sharing public knowledge.
Because if that's what my number was, I would pay cash.
I got this. Did you take cash? Because
I got
got that in my pocket.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. So yeah, there's an eye opener for you. They're not paying taxes.
Shame.
It's whatever.
Mm.
But we have a new princess in the.
Yeah, what's the name? Do we know the name?
It's long. It's a little bit. Something.
Diana.
Something.
Is it Diana?
Diana.
It's in there somewhere?
Yeah.
Yes, a little bit Diana.
Little
Yes.
bit Diana.
Like little bit.
Yeah.
You know how we used to
It's
call
a little bit of
we
this,
used
a
to
little
get
bit of
called
that.
little bit.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
A little bit of that.
Yes.
Well,
Little bit
little bit,
Diana.
little bit
And
something,
did-
something, little bit Diana.
Did the Queen get a picture of the newborn?
The little bit is a nod to her name.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
What's her name?
It's something little bit.
Oh, that's weird.
She got like 10 names,
It comes from Elizabeth.
and all
So-
that comes from Elizabeth.
Yes.
But new princess nonetheless.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Little bit princess. She might be a little bit princess. Depends on how they feeling. Because, they're like, nah, we not want to give you the princess title or the prince and all that.
Oh my.
But I can't believe they treat the kid that way. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see.
And she is what? The 8th in line?
Yeah,
to
so
the
far
throne?
down it
She
ain't
won't
like
ever
that.
make it to the throne.
Pretty much.
No.
But she gets to be called princess.
That's all right.
That's
It's a
all
good
that
title to
matters.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I have a little princess.
Yeah.
A little bit. A little bit.
I was a princess. Like,
Yeah,
princess
good title to
too.
have.
And
Yes.
she's got answers to the princess.
Of course she
All the
does.
time.
Yeah, all the
That's
time.
Of
right.
course she does.
That's right.
Yeah. New stimulus. Is it coming or not?
Well, we'll take it if it does. And if there are people that don't want to take theirs, I'm sure we can find a home for it.
Again, we keep telling you, if you don't agree and you don't want to do it, send your money back.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody sending
Return
money
to
back.
sender.
Return to sender.
And
Or
people-
disperse it to people who will gladly accept it, such as Us three.
Yeah, I mean,
I will take mine.
I mean, and anybody else's if they want to give it to
That's
me.
correct. I'll
Yes.
take Roy Blunt's and
Yes.
Josh Holly's because they voted against it.
Well,
So
yeah.
if they voted against it, I'll take their share if they get one.
I'm good with that.
My goodness.
I mean-
I'm not bashful.
Money is money, and the child tax credit is supposed to be the people who are going to qualify for that will be getting notified in July.
isn't that something they usually get when they do their taxes? But that didn't happen this
Child
time.
tax.
That's correct.
Yes.
Well, why did they make the people wait?
Well, it's always been on there. It's just extra. You get
Oh,
this extra
they get a little extra.
3,000 or
Wow.
3,600
Per
yeah.
child or just extra?
Per child. I
Really?
think. Yes. Don't take our word for it. Look it up on your tax
Yeah,
thing
I
if
don't
you
know.
can find out, because the tax codes is crazy. But yeah, so that's the fun stuff going on.
Yeah, people say they see tan lines, Mel.
I know Iowa, y'all. You wouldn't think I would get a tan in Iowa.
She's crispy.
I know what. I got this gold and bronze going on. Don't be hating. I know. Don't be hating. But yes, I usually have to go to Florida or to an island to get like this. But man, I went to Iowa. I said, okay, done.
It's amazing.
Done. But I'm still gonna go to the places too. Anyway, noticing my tan. That's why I wore the drop top so y'all can see it.
The
All
drop,
right.
not the drop
Yeah,
top.
the drop top.
I'm
Please
mad.
don't.
I'm mad at my second home.
What happened? Walmart, what happened?
What happened?
They're getting ready to do away with bags now. They've done away with all of their cashiers, and now they're getting ready to do away with the bags. So what do I put my groceries in
Well,
when I go shopping?
First,
at
I'm
the
gonna let
neighborhood?
you.
My first problem is how many take the bags you got at the house back to Walmart.
Amen.
Because you've got two.
Yes.
Oh.
I mean, don't let me tell your business. But outside of
Yes.
that,
Yes.
2 drawers full. But what's the plan?
I know they're going to save money. The
They-
Waltons have not made enough money.
Exactly.
They are
Well,
going to save money
it's
by
all-
not purchasing.
It's all them taxes they had to pay.
I think so. Yes. Can you imagine?
They will. What they're going to end up doing, and it's actually being done in a whole lot of different cities. I know Seattle does that, and a bunch of your progressive cities anyway. They're getting rid of the plastic, and they're going to. If you want one, you have to pay like 5 cents or 10
That's
cents
correct.
to get one. Kind of like Aldi's
Like Aldi's,
does.
yes.
Yeah. So they're just behind the curve, but hey, Walmart, yay.
Aldi's was ahead of a lot of things, if you really
yes.
think about it, right?
I like Aldi's.
I
Aldi's
never really,
free plug for you.
never
yes.
really shopped there. My grandma used to shop there a lot. And yeah, I just like put money in to get a cart. It was awkward. You know what I mean? Like, it was just weird. And then, you know, you had to pay for your bags, and everything was inside of its, you know what I mean? Like, it's boxed, like they just cut the front off the box and put it,
Pretty
like,
much.
they saved a lot of time and space. And meanwhile, Walmart, you know, was taking it around, charging people to put it up with, that's automated now. So,
That's right.
very interesting. But
You're
yeah, I
gonna
think
be
they were
safe.
ahead of time.
You ain't gonna be able to say you work at Walmart after a while, because it's like coming to an end.
It's interesting.
It's
different.
It is what it is.
No bad. He mad. He
I
mad.
gave some of mine because William's a hoarder of those things too.
I
I throw
just-
them away every time I get a
Look.
chance.
I did too. I grab a whole bunch out
Yes,
and put them in
me
the,
too.
and then I had to put something on top of it because you didn't get them out. And I'll be like, you didn't need those bags.
No,
Like,
I throw them out when it's trash day, so there's no way that you're going to get them back. So yes. So we have a muse.
oh, we got one.
Uh-oh.
Yes,
Oh.
I mean,
Okay.
and this one I really wish I would have sent it so we could have it on screen so people could see it. But follow along, just follow along. It's not that long, but it's okay. So we have scent. When you think of scent, what do you think of?
Like SCENT or SENT?
My point exactly. Do you think of SCNT,
Or just
SENT, or CENT?
Well, CENT didn't even come to mind. So it'd have to be one of the first two.
Which brings you the craziness of the English language, is what I'm trying to get at. Why do we have to have 3 words,
says-
totally different meanings, totally different spellings, sound the god darn same? I said darn.
that's-
I mean,
I mean,
makes-
we got a lot of those.
Why though? Why?
I don't know.
They don't make sense.
Good question.
you just, was that a pun intended?
Yes, it was. Absolutely, it was. And that's another one I left off.
Yes, you left that one out.
So there, that's the muse. Y'all think on that, figure it out, and when we come back, we're gonna bring you our guest because you see the flag behind us, right? I know y'all see it. Y'all see it? I know you see it. We're coming back with some pride to talk about.
Got something to say and nowhere to say it? Then you're ready for Joplin's premier podcasting studio, Flow, giving you everything you need as far as audio, visual, and a little bit more. From Joplin's downtown commons, location, location, location. Come flow with us and be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
By Me's Place Soul Food Kitchen for some tasty fried catfish and slamming fried chicken, collard greens, mac and cheese, and homemade cornbread. We even have your favorite Kool-Aid, you know, rare. Delicious home cooking is what we do, serving love on a plate just for you.
Boom, here we are. Like a bad penny, we keep showing up.
Welcome back.
And then Uncle D says something all nice. Welcome back. We're trying to insult you, and he's welcome back.
Yes, welcome back. Welcome back.
We are glad you stayed with us. And we have some guests to welcome. We have Ron Birch.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And Shayna Towers.
Hello.
Man, we are excited to have y'all, for real. For real.
Yeah, we're excited to be here.
I mean, I'm going to go and say, you know, I'm a little disappointed. I'm going to put that out there already. Because what I was expecting, and we didn't get it. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I owe you big for that one, but you catch me at a show at Blackthorn Pizza and I will not disappoint
That's
you.
what I'm talking
Okay,
about. Market yourself.
Tell us when that happens. Tell us when shows happen.
Well, basically we do every third Friday of the month at Blackthorn, and we're also starting a new production at Chaos Brewery, which I believe will fall on the fourth Friday, depending on how many we have during a month. But just find us on Facebook and you can see all the flyers, all the good stuff for us.
Find you on Facebook. How we find you on Facebook?
Well, you can find me, Shayna Towers, Shayna Towers, and there's always something goofy on my page. Just look for the anime memes and things like that, and you got me.
Okay.
All right.
How about you, Ron?
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for allowing us, the opportunity. So, you can find all of our stuff, jomopride.org. So, we not only do fundraisers, we do community outreach events, and of course the Pride Festival at the end of the year. This month, really, we have our Pride Pageant, which is June 26th. So it's a pageant that's also a fundraiser. It doubles as our Pride fundraiser, and that is where Shayna Towers here gives her official step down and crowns 2 new representatives of Jomo Pride in the community. So that's our really big event this year.
Don't do it. Don't keep your crown.
Well, I've already done that once. Any more would be a little gauche, I think. But that's just me talking.
And Ron, where will this pageant be held?
It's going to be at Wilder's Event Center, and again, that's June
yeah.
26th. Doors open to the public at 3, and then 4 o'clock begins the pageant and show and stuff. So, yeah.
Okay. Are they selling tickets for this, or is it just show up with?
Show up, first come, first serve.
Okay.
And also we have, there's a lot of Pride events in the area. We have Northeast Oklahoma, Miami is having their first Pride. Nevada is having their first Pride, so just a little bit north of us. And you can actually go to jomopride.org. And if you hover there for a second, a special screen will pop up, and it'll give you all the Pride events in the area. It'll give Shayna shows, it'll give, the drag boot camp shows, which is for, the younger crowd and stuff, and it kind of a one-stop shop to see what all's going on in the area. So
That is so cool. So how long have you all been? I know you're not from this area originally. How long have you been in the area? Because we were talking yesterday that a lot of these things weren't here 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So talk to us about that.
Well, I've lived in the area. I live in Baxter Springs, actually, so a little bit further out.
First Scout Town.
Yeah, precisely. Just go till you lose Wi-Fi signal and you're there.
Yeah.
6 years now, give or take. Actually, yeah, October will be 6 years, come to think of it.
Okay.
I moved down here with family from Michigan, Pontiac, Michigan, Detroit area about 25 or so years ago. So I've been in the area for a long time between Joplin and Carthage. Moved to Oklahoma City a couple years, moved to Wichita a couple years, but I always keep being drawn back to Joplin. And to piggyback on what you said, we actually have had a Pride Festival in one fashion or another since the mid-90s. So a lot of people don't know that. They usually started off in an obscure location hidden in a church basement. They started off out at McClellan Park, and then they finally moved to Landreth after Schifferdecker. So when we took over the festival at the end of 2017, when we heard the Pride Board had disbanded and they weren't going to put on Pride anymore, so we were like, oh crap, we can't really do that. Right. So yeah, a bunch of us got together and took over the festival in 2018, put on the very first Pride, and we had record attendance in 2018, record attendance again in 2019, and we're working on that again.
So COVID, nothing happened?
Yeah, COVID, we just did a virtual Pride, and that's also on our page if you wanted to scroll back and look at it. But yeah, we're gearing up for our first 2-day festival, August 28th and 29th. It's a pretty big deal, so exciting.
So that's marketed all around 4-state area, the region?
Yep, 4-state area. It's marketed in Oklahoma City. We have several LGBTQ publications who have picked it up as well. St. Louis, Kansas City as well. So yeah, we're doing a lot of marketing this time.
And I'm going to, since you said LGBT, how many alphabet do we have going on here? Because I really...
So I watched a video today, and I know it can get confusing,
yes.
Right? Okay, so we call it the alphabet soup. In our bylaws and our documents, we do have the LGBTQAI plus in there, but in our documents we label it as the community with a capital C. So that's kind of our personal shortened version of it, but it's LGBTQAI 2S plus. And the 2S has been added recently to incorporate Two-Spirit. So the indigenous community, that's what they've recognized for thousands of years. So it's something to incorporate that. And the plus leaves room for expansion. So as humans, we evolve and we expand. So that leaves that room to for other things as well. So
okay, I want you to back up.
Yeah,
back way up.
I left
Give
off
us
the
all.
cue.
Yeah,
that's all right.
that's what I wanted to hit on. Break down the letters, would you?
So lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, asexual, intersex. There's also queer and questioning, although those haven't been fully integrated into that alphabet soup. But then of course 2S and then plus. So. And there's lots of different ways you can do it. I'm not sure that there's a right or wrong way.
Okay.
But as we evolve, like I said, as humanity grows, kind of our personalities, our identities also tend to blossom as well. So there tends to be more representation under that LGBTQ for other identities and stuff. So
I feel like being minorities, we find the first thing we said, okay, is it he? Or she,
right.
we don't want to offend,
right.
right? But I wish other people looked at it that way too, because that's the one thing that we were like, okay, we don't want to say the name wrong, so how do you want, we wanted to make sure that we...
Right, so a good way to avoid that, and we do teach people this, is if you're not sure of somebody's gender, and you don't want to offend, absolutely, and we shouldn't also be, in this day and age, guessing somebody's gender, so it's also polite that you can ask, what are your pronouns? What do you prefer? Especially if you're not sure. What do you prefer? Yeah, what do you prefer to be? To go by. So he, him, his, they, them, their, she, her, hers.
English.
No.
Yeah.
Pronouns.
It's kind of
I
a
didn't
new
do well
thing.
in English class.
Yes, right.
I'd be losing out right about now with all the pronouns.
It's an education of sorts.
Yes,
It really
absolutely.
is. It's an education.
Yep, it's a learning process all the way. So we're
That's
still
it.
learning too. So.
But that's a good thing, though. I mean, it's never a bad thing to learn, something that just because a way of thinking or whatever that you're used to doesn't mean you can't open up and learn something new.
Exactly.
You don't know what you don't know, and that's not a bad thing.
It's
So,
not. That's what you have to take away is the stigmata from people. Well, I don't know, so I'm not going to accept or that kind of thing.
So learn.
Right.
There you go.
Put it on out there, Shayna.
Any of the letters that you have just enunciated there for us, what's the population here in Southwest Missouri, Joplin area?
So there was a study done nationally. I can tell you nationally, it's 7 to 8% of the population identifies as LGBTQ.
Okay.
Now, of course, that's not including people that are closeted, people that are not out whatsoever, and it's not also including the younger generations, including teens. It's only adults. So, I mean, that's of course going to be a little bit bigger. Around our area, we actually find we have a lot of young LGBTQ community members, young and trans LGBTQ community members. So,
Literally.
yeah. I can't give you an exact number right now.
No, that's interesting though,
yeah.
really.
Back in the day, Joplin actually used to be per capita one of the highest places where there were LGBTQ members of the community. So they used to hold national drag pageants here. We used to have a ton of gay bars. So yeah,
true.
a little bit different now, I think, because people are more accepting. We don't have to have one place to go, so it's kind of hard to keep track of those kind of numbers nowadays.
So,
Go ahead.
I have a question because I need to know. I need to know. How did the rainbow become the symbol for the LGBT, the alphabet? Is it okay if I say the community?
Community.
How? Because, how you want to use the rainbow and you're not gay?
Well, I mean, the rainbow belongs to everybody.
Okay.
Nobody owns nature, and that's
Tell the people.
essentially what the colors represent. I probably can't go through every one. Red being life, green being nature, blue being unity, things like that. But there was actually a gentleman from Tulsa, right?
It was actually right outside Pittsburgh, Gilbert Baker,
Okay, there we go.
who first did the first pride flag, and this is kind of the revamped one. It actually had two other colors, which included pink, I think a darker color of some sort.
It was like an indigo, like a neon blue, kind of like this.
Yeah,
almost.
it was a little bit different, and each color represented a different aspect of the community, like Shayna was saying. Now we have the all-inclusive flag, which has a V, which it has the brown and the black lines through it to represent our the people of color in our community, and then the regular rainbow straight down. So. That's actually what we're going to be replacing all of our flags with for Pride in Joplin, is the all-inclusive flag. So,
And
for our festival.
And really, when it comes to pride representation, there's about 30 different pride flags for every group within the community as a whole. So everybody gets to have a voice, potentially. Sometimes you got to do a little searching to find it, but that's one thing that I think is really awesome, because you can literally raise your colors and say, hey, I'm here.
Do you find in this area, because I don't know, I guess I feel like it maybe isn't quite, but like you say, it's been here forever, but do you feel that there's a more challenging demographic here? Like there's an age range where it's like they just don't understand us, or?
This area, is a little bit harder.
Yeah, that's what I'm like,
this area is a little bit harder. I think that part of what we've done, bringing the festival into the heart of downtown, that automatically creates more visibility and more awareness. And what we find out is that, our community, any community, they are more accepting, they're more inclusive when they're aware of the diversity in their own community. And there's no way they could be aware of that unless you're out, out front and seen, which is a good way for people to be seen during Pride Month, of course, and during festivals. It's for us to be seen, not only celebrate, but also push forward. So.
True. And even at the last Pride Festival, looking around, there were scores and scores of, I say younger people, probably 20 and less. And I'm looking out going, okay, I've never felt so old in my life. I mean, my Boniva, my Ensure, and it was something else. But like you're saying, you don't see this until you step outside your box, unfortunately. You've got social media for each and everybody, but at the same time, it's less real when it's on a screen. So.
Good point.
I think we've come a long way since Brokeback Mountain or whatever it
That's
was.
right,
back in the
right.
day. I mean, seriously.
But yes, that was one of the
I mean, and Harvey Milk and everybody back in the day,
right.
we had, it was mostly closeted. We didn't have a lot of people. Now, on the channel that I watch on television, hey, there's Pride people doing my local news. doing this fantastic
Yeah.
job.
Yep.
I mean,
Work with a lot of people, and hey, that's fine. That's just a
Absolutely.
good deal. So, but I just, just making a little light of it. But
No,
I just,
I like
it.
you know,
I like it.
absolutely,
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
what it was all about back in the day.
I know, I was like, oh, I forgot about that.
Right?
A lot of baby steps, but it's
Yes,
hard work.
Yes,
That's it.
yes. So let me ask on how do you feel when people say you have to come out? I mean, why does that have to be something that's broadcast, or that people look for to be broadcast when straight people, are you going around broadcasting? It's like, so why address that for me?
Well, there are a lot of straight people that do broadcast that. They are chauvinistic pigs. So just put that out
Tell us
there.
how you really feel.
I mean, particularly in my line of work, barbering and doing stuff like that, a lot of the conversation shifts that way. It's just what it is. Guys
Uh-huh.
are bragging on their girlfriends and things like that. And yeah, you should be proud of who you're with.
Right.
But it's like opening a floodgate almost, because you don't necessarily have to have this big party. You don't have to play Donna Summer and go down the street. But you owe it to yourself not to put yourself in that box where you cannot grow as a human being. And in a way, this might be a little bit of a kick in the butt for some people, but you owe it to people that came before too, because we might not be in a riot situation with the police like at Stonewall, but those people did make sacrifices. A lot of them made sacrifices for us to be able to do the fun, amazing things that we do today. So at the same time, pay it forward is what I would say.
Okay. What do
And
you say?
Did the Pride group come along with the civil rights organizations in the early days just to get the exposure and the notoriety that was needed to be known as you are today? We came along together.
Right.
The way I look at it, we get the short month, 28 days, and
Man.
here they are.
Ain't
as
nobody
Pride.
got it.
They get it 30 days.
Ain't nobody got it as bad as us. Ain't nobody got it as bad
That's,
as
but that's
us.
seriously. But did you do you see that as a helping hand, or was that something just like women
Right.
drove the civil rights organizations through the system to get to where they are now? And now I'm thinking the same thing with the Pride.
I think it was a culmination of things, honestly, because if you're looking at the late 60s, if you're looking at the early 70s, you have a lot of, issues around the time. So not just with issues around race, but also issues around, the gay community, especially New York, also the Compton cafeteria riots out in California. So I think they played off each other, honestly.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, it was right around that same time when there was a huge push, the civil rights push. So, that was the end, the end push of it. But I mean, I think they complemented each other, and it gave a larger voice when everyone came together that way.
Yeah, and it's very empowering to see somebody else stand up and you can immediately say, hey, they can do it, why can't we? Or whatever the case may be. And at the end of the day, it's, as far as Pride is concerned, it's not an us versus them, it's an everybody. Let's come
There
together,
you go.
let's raise each other up as best we
There you
can.
Okay, I got a question. Can you explain gender binary? What does that mean?
I don't even know.
So,
That's what I'm
So we
asking.
have
Typically people think male, female, one or the
Yeah.
other. And speaking personally as a drag queen, I've always identified as male. I will dress up and put this character on, but
Right.
eventually it all comes off. But there are people that will do that as an outlet to explore a more feminine or a more masculine side depending on where they are. I've always thought of gender as a spectrum, quite honestly, between the two. And when you say somebody is non-binary, 9 times out of 10 they fall somewhere in between. Maybe they were born female, they don't particularly feel effeminate, they don't feel particularly masculine, they just like to do their own thing. And that's where you get a lot of they, their kind of pronouns. So it's just kind of a self-discovery thing, I think, a journey everybody has to go on.
What about schools that are now allowing younger trans or bis or however you want to say it, not allowing, say, a woman to participate with the males or vice versa, males to
Right.
participate as on a woman's team, play volleyball or
Right.
basketball or run and track? What's your feelings on that type of situation at the present time?
I don't think we're complete experts on everything. So, I mean, there are issues on both sides of this, and I think it's also, in some cases can be kind of like politics or a political party where you have all these different opinions within each party tent. So, I think that's also part of this here. Now, as far as outright banning them, I don't think that. I personally don't believe that, and I won't, support that.
And kind of on that note, when you're talking about athletes, you're talking about athletes. Somebody who is a expert volleyball player, an expert wrestler, an expert boxer, whatever the case may be.
Yes.
They have made a choice, or I shouldn't say they made a choice, they've chosen this path to go down. They want to be the best they possibly can be. Whether you're on the gender spectrum or not, you're going to say to yourself, hey, I want to be the best forward I can be, the best boxer I can be. And personally, I'm not jumping in the ring with nobody that's been a pro boxer for 20 years or something like that, no matter where it is. So at that point, you're an athlete first, and everything else is just kind of an add-on afterwards. But that's, again, just me speaking as a cisgender man, so I can't dive too deep into that without saying something incorrect. I already know that.
And where do we really stop with that? So if you're going to ban, a trans, female to male trans athlete from, sports, are you going to ban them from playing sports completely? So are we just going to ban all trans athletes, on, either or team? So what are they going to do? I mean, that doesn't seem fair to me.
That's a great question.
We'll answer that when we come back.
You say you want a delicious dessert? Jen's Cheesecake Delights is the one to call. Each delicious cheesecake is personally handcrafted with quality ingredients for you or your special occasion. Jen's Cheesecake Delights, handcrafted with you in mind.
And so now we really don't have an answer to that question, but we needed a commercial break. But we're back now. So,
but what do you think, though, for the people in the comments? What should we? What is the suggestion if we don't want to allow those that identify, and I'm probably saying it wrong, as female, that may have been born male? Am I right so far? Okay. To play on the female sports teams, where do they go?
And that's
where do
true.
You play?
Well, and you have a lot of parents though that will cause that fuss because when it comes to locker rooms, when it comes to different things like that, the phobias come out. I guess you could say the phobias come out, and
it's fear of the unknown.
Yeah,
right. We don't know.
You don't know.
But I mean, I played sports all through college, and there were always some on your team, and that was okay with me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Okay, you know how I'm running. We're good. You know what I mean. It was just good.
Okay.
And so I don't see how it would be any. In my world, I don't see how it would be any different.
If anything, we'd be like, hey, can you hook us up with such and such? Tell them we're looking at them.
We got some questions. This is probably an easy question, but why are people gay? He's like, I don't know. This could be a loaded question.
It's like, why are people black? Or white? Or,
I think it's a spice of life kind of thing, because if we all lived the same life, it wouldn't be life. We'd just be fungus, quite honestly.
Dang.
Everybody's got a different path to go down. Some people are meant to change people's lives. Other people are meant to just stay in their corner. You've just got to take people as they are, because they're not going to change. Your perceptions might, and that might be in your favor. Just a thought.
I mean, I don't even think you can get any
That
more
works with
clearer
everything. Yes.
than that on everything.
Just everything.
Because
It didn't need to be profound.
No, but it was. I think it was
It's
deeper than
simple.
what you gave yourself credit for. It's
simple
like,
sometimes.
yeah, it's the best way to roll.
I don't even know. Yeah.
People are just people.
Not speechless often, but that did it for me. That did it for me. Yeah. Next question.
Right. Next question.
Unless you wanted to respond.
Yeah.
I mean, that really goes back to the age-old debate, really, the hot topic, hot button topic debate. Is it a choice or were you born gay? So, and there are people, there are sides on both sides of the aisle who, think that.
Answer that question.
Yeah.
Since you threw it out there, go ahead.
from
Interview yourself.
Yes.
Well, mine is not a choice. So, early on, I knew I wasn't, exposed to anything gay in my childhood or anything like that. I just felt an attraction to guys. Whether that was part of, my father figure being absent or whatnot, but yeah, I mean, for me, it was not a choice. It just came naturally, and yeah.
Personally, I know I was born gay, and I'll choose the cute guy in the corner every time. But it's funny you mention that because my mother was divorced when I was younger, and she married my stepdad when I was a little bit older. And I kind of wonder if maybe that had something to do with it. I mean, it gave me a healthy respect for women, period. But at the same time, having a stepdad right afterwards made no change. He always taught me to be a gentleman, to be polite, and just to live life and respect people. That's the big thing I got from him. And a love of Marlboro cigarettes. So, other than that.
Yeah, and a lot of people do, it's either, well, I can't help it that I'm this way, or, and then you have the authority figures, I'll just say that, who say, well, you have childhood trauma, or you just don't want to change, or we can convert you to, I've heard of that conversion therapy. What is that about? What's your perspective on that?
Do your worst to anybody who can say that. Bottom line, and this is not as a medical professional, not as a psychologist or anything like that, on the outside to me, it looks like torture. Quite honestly, you are depriving people of human exposure, of food and water and things like that, depending on the severity of it. And speaking as a Christian, it does not reflect my faith, quite honestly, to force that on somebody, to indoctrinate somebody like that. That's, in my mind, not what Jesus would want, not what our ancestors would want, not what the universe, the powers that be would want. Quite honestly, if you give somebody an idea and they think it's good, they're going to roll with it. If not, they're going to drop it and move on with their lives. When you have to put somebody into a type of therapy or a camp for that matter, you've crossed this ugly line and it's only downhill from there.
And the more people suppress who they are and, bottle everything up, the likelihood of committing suicide, the likelihood of trying to make suicide dramatically increases. So, when you're having these programs that are very physically intensive and harmful, they're not harmful just to the body, they're harmful to that person's psyche. So there are instances of people going through those conversion therapies and killing themselves after, which is absolutely horrible. You see some states right now that are completely banning it. I have
seen that. Yeah. So that is like, I don't even know. To have something like that in existence even is like,
it just shows how ugly people can be, quite honestly.
And that adds to the mental health issues that are already going on,
for sure.
And that they're probably experiencing just by, oh my God, I gotta present myself as this, or whatever.
Yeah.
Wow. So question. A question is, how can I respond when someone tells a homophobic joke? What's the appropriate response for a person?
When it comes to something like that, quite honestly, after 10 years of doing drag, my skin is like armor. There's nothing you can say to me that's going to cut me that bad, but to hurt somebody else near me is a different story.
And young people.
Yeah, especially at that point. If you encounter something like that, if it's something that you have a quick response for, use that natural defense. go right ahead. If not, just ignore them because that person doesn't need to rent space in your brain anymore.
Yes.
What about the boycott of Chick-fil-A? Do you all eat chicken at the Chick-fil-A? I mean, seriously.
I have.
That was a big deal here about a year or two ago.
I have, but not anymore. They're back to their old tricks. So, you know, she's donating all this money to, you know, millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars recently to stop the Equality Act from going into effect. So that's what the money has been going to right now. That's what it's been funneling. So yeah, Burger King, now that you mentioned Chick-fil-A, Burger King, every chicken sandwich you buy from Burger King, they donate a portion of the proceeds to the Human Rights Campaign. So get you some Burger King.
All right. Don't you take that away from me.
Another good advertisement for Burger King.
Feel free to send us a check, Burger King.
So, seriously, though, that's good, though.
Yeah.
I was just wondering.
Yeah.
Are there? Sorry.
Go ahead.
We're excited, but hey, any other restaurants that maybe aren't quite so friendly, and then which ones are?
Well, there's a lot of talk online right now about corporate pride and how everybody's kind of jumping on the bandwagon. And what do you expect? They're retail corporations. They're going to follow the trends.
Absolutely.
And if they're going to take some of that and make a donation to a charity or something along those lines, more power to you. Quite honestly, I liked being in the mall today and seeing a bunch of pride displays, particularly just going down the rotunda. And it's just something they're going to do. They're going to jump on Christmas. They're going to jump on Halloween. They're going to jump on, you know, whatever's going to make them money. It's the name of the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's...
Sorry.
I think it's 60 to 70% of the LGBTQ community, and this was from that same study I was giving you earlier, but 67 to 70% of the community will purchase from companies that take an issue, like take a stand on issues with the LGBTQ community. So likewise, 80% of the LGBTQ community will purchase from a company that markets and supports the actual community, not just on issues, but if you actually market towards the community and support the community, 80% of the community will support that business, that company, regardless of the price, regardless of the convenience. And again, the 6 to 7% is 15 million people. And like I said, that number is a little bit higher. So throw a couple more statistics your way.
I know, it's like, you the numbers guy.
I was just at Rotary Club, so it's still fresh.
With all these numbers. So how does Jomo, okay, and you're a co-founder of Jomo Pride?
Co-founder and current co-chair. Yeah.
Okay, so how does that help the community? What does Jomo Pride do to help out the community?
Okay, so we do a lot of things actually. Not just the Pride Festival, which gains massive visibility for the community. Again, visibility, awareness, people become more accepting. But we also do fundraisers. We also support Jomo EQ, which is another LGBTQ organization here locally that does educational events, and they also do support groups. So we support their efforts. We've done Toys for Tots fundraisers several years in a row, and we've donated those proceeds. So we're really kind of all over the place. Right now we actually have an LGBTQ friendly resource section on our page. So if there's a business that is supporting, you can go to our website and apply, and we'll actually put you up on our our database, and so we can kind of promote the businesses in the area and resources in the area, mental and physical health resources as well that we're.
And that's kind of what I was leaning towards. How does it, like for say a youth that's just coming to know their self, and are there resources for them to tap into you guys and say, hey, I need some help doing whatever? Yeah,
we really act as like the bridge. So we have a lot of people come to us just because we're the most visible in the community. So we have a lot of people come to us, ask us about where we can get stuff for trans healthcare and stuff like that. So support groups. So we basically usher them to where they need to go, where would help them best and stuff like that. So we do help and act as that bridge.
That's a good. Go ahead.
No, I was.
Well, you said that with medical care, and I'm like, I didn't even think that that's probably something you encounter that's a difficult.
Yeah.
To get treated.
And right now there is no place in the immediate Joplin area that specializes in trans care. You actually have to go to Springfield right now. Hopefully that's changing. A lot of the mental health resources are just now, sprouting up in the area. Ozark Center is trying to do something right now. Renewed Mental Health takes on a lot of LGBTQ trans cases in the area as well. So we're just trying to compile all those and build them up really to give the community a place to go and whenever they need help. So.
What about in school? Do you find that you all have a lot of people reach out from schools that are having issues or counselors with concerns? What do you find there?
I personally not, at least from any local schools. There have been many clients I've had that have asked simple questions, what they can do to lead people down the right direction, again, mainly for healthcare, things like that. Beyond that, a lot of that comes from parents just being open with their children and asking questions. Hey, how do you feel about X or Y? Things like that. And that's where we try to, at least me personally, I try to send them to the JOMO page, because a lot of those resources I do not have a contact for, and it's actually very simple. If I can work it, anybody can.
That's a lot. I mean, stuff you don't even, that you wouldn't even think that those would become issues because of who they choose to.
That's all right.
There are also.
I mean, if it's an issue for anyone, it's an issue for Pride community as well, and they're going to need health care, just like you and I would need health care, and especially this area. We would hope that they could find someone that would be willing to, treat.
Right. So here is a question.
It's ominous.
Yeah, it said, how can a person support LGBTQ people without their own sexual orientation coming into play or being questioned?
Well, the question really boils down to how mature are you? Can you separate your lifestyle from, your private lifestyle? And a lot of people cannot. It just is how it is. And you do not have to be on the LGBTQ spectrum for that to come into play. But at the same time, if you're showing up at Pride with your boyfriend, with your husband, with your girlfriend, with your wife, or something like that, it's gonna come up, what roles these people play in their relationships, or even polyamorous people who might have one or two wives or one or two husbands or whatever the case may be. Completely a thing. It's shocking me too.
I'm not shocked.
Yeah.
Barely got time for one.
Make that legal.
Different strokes for different folks.
Right.
But at the same time, it boils down to a maturity level.
Right.
If you want to ask that question, maybe pull somebody aside and say, hey, where can I find this product or that, or whatever the case may be? And a lot of that comes from the origins of gay pride being like a street fair like Folsom, for instance, which was a private event, knowing that it was a simple XXX kind of thing. And again, if you can have that separation and you can have that direct maturity, that's really what counts.
Right.
There's education, and then there's the add-ons.
Education and then the add-on. That comes from people's own opinions and things like that.
Really, yes.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's like questions just keep rolling, but it's like, go ahead, Uncle D.
I don't have one this time.
I don't have one.
What kind of advice, or what would you say to a young person or somebody who's just been hesitant that want to? And I hesitate to say come out because, like we said earlier, you don't have to come out. I mean, just be you, I guess. But what would you say to somebody who's like exploring or doing that? Or
I would say come out to Pride. Come out to any of the fundraisers, just anywhere where there are other like-minded people. So, that doesn't mean this person has to be like, hey, I'm gay, I'm out, just come out, hang with everybody, get to know everybody. And like I said, that plays on that a little bit earlier, more awareness, you're around that sort of community, you're becoming more comfortable, so that all plays in that too. So coming out, to whatever events that may be. So. Yeah.
And sometimes it's a case of baby steps. My grandmother always used to say, try it twice, make sure you hate it, and then move on.
Smart one. Yeah, we've heard that too.
Well, she was talking about meatloaf. And
I know, still don't like it.
But like Ron was saying, expose yourself to like-minded people and expose yourself to people who are not like-minded. That's going to give you some serious perspective.
That's true in anything.
It, absolutely it is.
They used to say, "Hey, come out of the closet." I do that every morning.
Oh my God.
My day starts in the closet.
I started in the
Now, what am I
closet
gonna
before I
wear?
can
What
leave.
am I gonna wear?
Yes, well, there you go.
Excuse him. What about upcoming events? We talked about the pageant. Tell us what else is coming up.
So, like I said, jomopride.org. If you go to that page, hover on it for a second, a special screen will come up that says Pride Month events. So,
Is this special? Well, I feel like I've never seen this before.
Yeah.
Is this just a Pride thing? Because I want
Yeah,
one to
it's
pop up for me in my events. Like,
our web guy, Patrick Hayes, who is I think his mom's
never
the
met
city
him.
administrator, the city finance director.
Okay.
He does an amazing job for us. So
Very cool.
yeah, it's fancy. You just sit and hover for a second, it pops up, and you click on it, and then it gives you.
He's
Yeah,
a-
yeah.
he's a human resources.
Yeah. And then it gives you the list of everything going on. And again, like our big crescendo this month would be the Pride pageant on June 26th. So,
Hold on to that crown. I can't
We'll see.
tell.
We'll find out the day of.
Depends on how I feel. How
Precisely.
Shayna is feeling. Maybe like, hey, I ain't ready to let
Are we
go.
going to be in like the RuPaul's and things? Is this what we're talking about for those of us who do not know? I'm just, that's
Oh,
what
for
we
the
can.
pageant?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what. Is that what we're talking about?
Kind of, sort of, but not really. Yeah.
All of those.
Yeah, I know that's real helpful. Drag pageants, as far as female illusion is concerned, there's, yeah, I mean, that's just the more proper term that they
I
put on
like-
the contract so they can sound fancier and stretch it
Okay.
into 6 pages. But as far as the competitions are concerned, they have been around since the late 60s. Miss Gay America was the very first, and they started in the late 60s, and they're still going strong. Now there's Miss Gay US of A, Miss Continental, Miss Entertainer of the Year, and typically they will also have a male title associated with that, whether you're a biological male, a drag king, or whatever the case may be. There's always a slot for somebody. No matter what, there is always a slot. We do model them on the Miss America system, where you'll have an evening gown competition, a presentation competition, typically a Q&A, and then a talent portion. And talent can be anything you want to really demonstrate that you're an entertainer. You can lip sync, you can sing, you can twirl the baton. I saw somebody do magic one time, and that was pretty awesome. She didn't win, but it was pretty cool. As far as entertainment is concerned, we have our shows coming up at Blackthorn Pizza. That is the #1 drag spot in Joplin right now. Chaos Brewery is coming up as well. Again, make sure you're on Facebook so you can look at all that. We have the after party, which will be the same night as the pageant, for the parents to go and play at Blackthorn, which will be another show, and that'll just be when we let loose and have a good time, no stress, no nothing. And then drag brunch after that. So that week I'm gonna be dead, just dead on my feet. But beyond that,
That's awesome.
And how many participants are you expecting this year?
I would like to see at least 5 competitors.
For the pageant?
Pageant.
For the pageant.
Yeah, that'd probably be 5 queens and a few kings, because we crown both.
So who's the kings?
Well, actually, the king that we did have, one of our rules is you have to comport yourself becoming of your crown and station, and unfortunately that didn't happen. And so we took back that title.
I know,
So
I'm
what
like,
does
you
that
gotta
mean?
do what?
That
Yeah,
means-
I'm not confused. Thank you.
To break it down, you gotta act right.
Okay.
There's a certain level of behavior, because you're in the public eye. You might not be a legal member of the Jomo Pride Board, but you are the flagship for this community. And just
Oh, so like any pageant.
and have a first alternate to pass to. So
But
There is
Are we
a
getting-
saying.
I mean, but okay. For,
Oh, is
you
it a
have
female
drag
or is it a
queen,
male?
Is it a
It's a
male?
male,
Is it-
yes.
Okay, that's what I'm like.
Well,
I
is it a
had to
woman
read
dressing
through what
as
you
a
were
man?
saying. Yeah,
Well,
like
what they bring to stage will typically be male or even a degree of gender non-conforming masculine, just
Yeah.
so we can
Woo.
attach the Mr. title to that. That's really all that is.
masculine.
I think I just need to go.
Absolutely.
I-
I
You know
need
what?
to.
I
I've
really-
never gone,
Me
and
too.
I think I just need to go. So I'm like,
It's
okay.
educate
So,
ourselves.
yeah.
An eye opener.
It's a
Yeah.
good old
Yes,
time.
it's.
Hey.
And our theme this year is the dark side of Disney, so I'm real excited for
Mm.
that.
Would you say that again? To
Yeah.
The dark side of Disney.
Yes, because I've always loved villains, the antagonists, things like that. So it's a chance to kind of spread your wings and explore something along those lines.
And the cool thing is the winner gets to pick the next year's theme and have an integral part in planning that. So yeah, that was Shayna's theme, and I think it's amazing.
You're going with that your outfit?
No, I'll be wearing at least
Can you tell?
4 or 5 different pieces of
Oh,
clothing.
okay. I know. I'm like,
Okay.
you got to get me.
Yeah, I was
exclusive
thinking
right
of
here.
that or something.
Like,
Okay.
no,
So
don't.
if us commoners decide to show up, what do we wear when we show
Yeah.
up?
Well, pants are a good start. A shirt if you choose.
I got it.
Like we're saying,
Just hang out.
precisely.
Okay.
It's a good time. It's not a formal event unless you're competing. Just come, relax, order some food, have some drinks. We can take some pictures, laugh. There's going to be plenty to do that day, so I wouldn't worry about
Me
it.
too. Me too.
Yeah.
Can we get a good seat?
Yeah, we will. Right at the front. Right at the
Take
front.
care of it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Right
No,
next
our
to the
dollar
judge's
bills.
table.
Anything else you want to tell the
Yeah.
viewers before we wrap it up for tonight?
Beyond, thank you for having us. This has been a lot more fun than I expected. So,
It was like,
despite not getting the memo about this and everything like that, but like I said, next opportunity we won't disappoint.
There you go.
So,
Deal.
there will be another one. There
Yes,
will be
ma'am.
another one. What about you?
Definitely August 28th and 29th. That is our big Pride Fest, first 2-day event. So we have Miss Gay America, Mr. Gay America. We have Sarah Cunningham, who is an author, and she's also the founder of Free Mom Hugs, which is a national organization.
Yeah,
We have a
read
public
about
meet and
her.
greet with her, so lots of stuff, August 28th and 29th. And again, jomopride.org to keep up to date on all of our events and stuff. So.
It'll be a good time. There'll be lots of local entertainers as well.
Yeah, yes,
So
yes.
Looking forward to that especially.
Thank you guys. I
It's
appreciate
been very
it.
enlightening here.
Absolutely.
My goodness, I'm glad I got to make
Yeah,
this.
right. I said, Dad, we need you because you've got like an aspect that this is probably not really a big thing when you were coming up and around. Like you said, they were in the closet.
Yeah.
Well, it was.
Hide.
It was very
Hide.
different back then, and you knew a few people, but at least now, you know, everywhere you go, there's somebody that's in the
Yeah.
Pride community. It's more acceptable, like they say, and I learned to deal with it and keep going. I'm glad
it's
that we
like-
have evolved some and kept keep it moving.
But
Live and let
people,
live.
but people were saying the same thing about people of color at one point, right? Like,
I mean, on a
we
certain level, yeah.
we were treated the same. It's like, oh, okay, I guess we'll just deal with, you know what I mean? And that's not how it should be. Like, just
Right.
like you say, everybody just
Yeah.
accept
You know,
it.
back in the day, you had good authors like James Baldwin.
Yep.
Then we find out that he was in the Pride
Yeah.
community, you know, but we didn't know that at the time when he was writing and doing all these things because he had to keep it on the down low, as they say.
Right. Didn't want to get we didn't even get into that part, y'all, because we only got an hour show.
Right,
So
right.
we better not
We'll
get
have,
into
we'll have to have another one. We'll have to have another one.
And we don't know day.
All right. Hey, we was fun. We was fun.
Yeah.
No, we have fun. We have
Yes.
fun. Next week.
Next week.
What do we do?
We
What do we have next week?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Father's Day panel.
Is that next week?
That's next.
That's
the
that's
15th?
before Father's Day, yes.
Yes, we're gonna do it
Father's Day
before
panel.
Father's Day. So
Yes.
it's a Father's Day panel.
So who's on the panel?
It's some people,
Some people.
some dads.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Tracy Thompson, Victor Sly,
Just got confirmation from Wayne Logsdon.
Wayne Logsdon,
He will be
Wayne's
in
gonna
the
be here?
house. In the house.
Yes.
Yes.
and then there's one more.
Yes.
I'll be
That's
watching
top
some
secret.
One more.
We don't know.
It's a special guest. But yeah, so make sure you tune in next week for that.
Next week.
We also have the Juneteenth Black Expo coming up, the Joplin Regional Black Expo, June 19th. That'll be from 6 to 11. 6 to 8 is the actual networking and moving around, getting the businesses recognized. And then from 9 to 11, it's going to be party time.
What do we do between 8 and
Gonna be
9?
party. Hey, you got to get your stuff ready.
I was just checking. I was
Eat
like,
and drink.
Okay. I just be sure because
It'll be a wine bar from Just a Taste is going to be there.
Wine
Yeah.
bar.
And Jomo Jazz is going to be playing music for us. Yeah. They're going to be performing. Yeah.
Sounds like a fun time.
Absolutely. And then what else you said? We had something else. Okay.
That's what I got.
But yeah. But thank you for joining
Keeping it
us,
quiet.
everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be back next week with some dads.
With some
A few
dads. So come up with some questions, people, especially all you kids
All
out
right.
there.
Hey.
And we'll
Wait,
see you next
he's
week.
waving us out.
He's always waving us out.
See you later.
Thanks for joining us.
This is your announcer, D.R. Colbert, still working for a bottle of crushed grapes and that meal, saying thanks for listening to the Colbert Connection with Melody and Donika. If you like our show and want to know more, check us out next week, same time and place, when we talk about everything, including you, if you do not tune in to next week's show. Catch the Covert Connection Tuesday at 1800 hours or 6 p.m. See you sooner than later. Good day.